A red light blinked on the console. It was small, quiet, almost forgotten. But to the three people still alive inside Outpost 9, it meant everything. Captain Yara stood frozen, staring at the screen. Her hands were shaking. The message had been received. Somewhere far away in deep space, the Empire would now hear Earth's final words. Words not made for peace. Not made to beg, but to warn. She pressed the button, and the old transmitter sparked to life. "We don't stop," she said, into the recorder. Her voice was calm, tired, but strong. "Till all is ash." She repeated it, again and again. Her voice grew colder each time. Behind her, the sky outside turned dark. The orbital warning alarms began to scream. The Empire's ships were coming. There was no one left to fight them here. But Earth was not finished. Lieutenant Morrow sat beside her, blood on his face and his right leg missing. He had wired the bombs himself. All around the outpost, deep underground, enough explosives had been hidden to tear the mountain apart. "You sure they'll hear it?" he asked, coughing. "They'll hear it," Yara said. Morrow smiled through the pain. Then it was worth it. The red light stopped blinking, far above the planet. The first wave of Empire drones began to descend. Inside the dark command center, the recorder kept playing. "We don't stop until all is ash." Thousands of light years away aboard the UHE, Imperial Dreadnought Zorian, Commander Vetra, watched the message play on a black screen. The room was silent. Her officers said nothing. The humans had been defeated. Earth was no longer a planet. It was a scorched wasteland, buried under glass and radiation. There were no cities, no ships, no soldiers. Yet here was a message. It's broadcast on an old deep frequency. Channel, bouncing between beacons, the Empire thought it had destroyed. The message repeated again. "We don't stop until all is ash." Vetra leaned forward. "How long ago did this transmission start?" 18 days, said her communications officer, a tall, thin creature with pale green skin. Repeated every 4 hours. "It came from a dead outpost on the far edge of the Sol system." "Wasn't that destroyed during the siege?" "Yes, Commander." "But the outpost was underground, hidden beneath a former mining site. We thought it was empty." Vetra said nothing. She stared at the human woman in the recording-worn uniform. Bloody face, cold eyes. "You sure this isn't a trick?" she asked. "No, Commander. We've confirmed it's real." The transmission bounced off 9 relay satellites we never detected, hidden behind moons, inside debris fields. They planned this. "Yes, Commander." Vetra sat back in her chair. She felt uneasy. Not afraid she was never afraid, but something was wrong. Something didn't make sense. Earth was broken. The humans had nothing left. Why send a message like this? What could they possibly gain, and why now? On the cold edge of the Sagittarius Veil, the ship Ashburn floated in silence. It was long and narrow, made from broken parts of old freighters and wrecked warships. Its outer hull was jagged, patched with metal from a dozen fallen fleets. It had no markings, no identification. To any scanner, it looked like debris. Inside, the last true soldiers of Earth moved quietly through the narrow halls. They wore black. No flags, no names. They didn't speak unless they had to. In the command room, Captain Lin watched as the final drone returned. It dropped a data chip onto the table, then powered down. The lights in the room were dim. Energy was low. Every system was used only when needed. A technician plugged the chip in. The data played an An. Empire scout ship had entered orbit above a frozen planet. The humans had been waiting. The scout team landed and never returned. One by one, the footage showed the Empire crew walking into the abandoned base. Doors sealed behind them, then heat, fire. Screams. Lin turned the feed off. Message confirmed. The technician said they received the transmission response. They're watching. Captain Lin nodded. "Good." She stood up and faced her crew. "Phase 1 is complete. The message is in their minds. Let them fear us now." Nobody clapped. Nobody cheered. These were not soldiers trained for glory. They were here to finish what Earth began. Lin looked around. We've lost everything. Families, homes, oceans, history, but we have one thing left. Black chip with a single line carved into it. Ashburn Protocol. Execute when all is lost, we burn them, she said. Until they remember what they did to Earth. And every crew member said in unison, voices like a cold wind, we don't stop till all is ash. On the Zorian commander Vetra walked through the high halls of the central deck. Her mind was full. Something was happening, something she didn't understand. The humans were not supposed to be this dangerous anymore. Their armies were gone, their fleets destroyed, their people scattered or dead. Yet somehow they were still bleeding. The Empire. Small attacks, explosions, disappearances. Every week another patrol vanished, another station blacked out. She had called them ghosts, insurgents. But now she wasn't sure. Her second in command, a battle officer named Score, joined. Her commander, he said, we lost contact with the scout team near Outpost 441. That's the 6th this month, she said. Score nodded. They left no distress signal. Just gone. Vetra stopped walking. She looked out a long window. Into the stars. Somewhere out there, something waited. Something angry. Clever. Do we have any prisoners? She asked. None alive? Must leave no remains? And what about that Earth ship, Dot? The one we chased near the Veil? Still missing? It's Vetra. Clenched her fist. How many of them do you think are out there? She asked. Score paused. Unknown. Maybe a few dozen. Maybe more. Whatever this is, she said, it started with that message. That broadcast. Yes. Then we need to find out where it came from, not just the source, but the mind behind it. She turned. Find me someone who knows about the Ashburn Protocol. Score blinked. The what? The humans used that phrase once, long ago. I read about it in their old war texts. It was a plan, ... Something final, like a last breath. Their version of no surrender. Score said nothing. Vetra narrowed her eyes. They're not trying to win, she said. They're trying to make us pay. Back on Ashburn, Captain Lynn stood in front of a cold metal wall. Names were carved into it. Thousands. Every man, woman, and child confirmed lost when Earth fell. Lynn traced her fingers over one name. Her daughters, she remembered the fire, the screaming. The way the sky turned black, she remembered the Empire's promise. We will give you peace. But peace had come only through death. Now, Lynn would give them something else. Not war, not justice. Only ash behind her. Alarms rang. Phase 2 ready, her officer said. She turned. Show me. A map of the Empire's border lit up. Red marks. Blinked on 36 systems. Targets locked. Saboteurs are in place. Good, Lynn said. Launch. All across the galaxy. Old satellites activated. Cargo ships. Long thought abandoned. Opened secret bays. Old soldiers. Now farmers. Miners. Refugees pressed buttons and walked away. Explosions lit up stations. Communications darkened. Empire ships failed to launch, and as each system burned, one phrase appeared on every monitor, every speaker, every screen. We don't stop till all is ash. The Empire had believed the humans defeated. They had won every battle. They had destroyed the homeworld. They had scattered the survivors. But they had made one mistake. They had left some alive, and the ones who remained, ... they remembered. They planned, and they were coming, not to reclaim Earth, not to rebuild, but to make the stars burn, and to remind the Empire of one thing. The final words from Earth, not a plea, not a prayer, but a promise. We don't stop till all is ash. Dust rose as the Empire scout ship landed on the surface of Garin 7, frozen mining world abandoned for over 50 years. Captain Rollo stepped out first, holding a scanner. He was tall, armored, and proud, an officer trained to hunt what remained of Earth's rebels. Behind him, 4 soldiers moved carefully, scanning the area. "This place is dead," one said. "No," Rollo replied, eyes sharp. "It's quiet." "There's a difference." They walked across the ice, boots crunching. Long, broken towers of metal poked through the snow. An old human mining station stood in the distance, half collapsed, covered in frost. The scanner beeped softly. No life signs, just power echoes, faint ones. Placed a hand on the panel. It opened with a low hiss. Lights flickered inside, dim, cold, but still working. Someone had kept this place alive. The team entered, as the door closed behind them. The snow outside swallowed their tracks, far away aboard the Ashburn. Captain Lin watched the live feed through a stolen Empire surveillance drone. She saw Rollo and his men walking deeper into the station. They didn't know the air inside had been filtered to trap them. Didn't see the motion detectors tracking every step. Didn't notice the walls heating up. Lin gave a small nod. Trigger. When ready, her technician tapped the console. Back on Garen 7. The lights went out. The soldiers froze. "Power cut," one said. Rollo raised his weapon. Switched to night vision. They did. Then came the sound. A soft hum. A low whine. And then heat. Flames exploded from the vents. Liquid fire sprayed the hallway. Screams echoed in the dark. The transmission ended. Lin looked away. Another piece off the board. She said her second-in-command, Rain, leaned in. "They'll send more, good," Lin said. "Let them bleed." Commander Vetra stood in front of a glowing holomap, watching the red markers appear one by one. 16 Empire patrols had vanished in the last month. Each one was last seen near old human zones, dead worlds, ghost stations, scrap fields. Places long ignored. Places the Empire thought were harmless. But now, something was happening. Her officers called it bad luck. She called it strategy. "These attacks are not random," she said. She zoomed the map in. All the missing patrols were near hidden root-sold paths only humans knew how to navigate. "They're drawing us in, testing us." Her science officer Lurek stepped forward. "Commander, we recovered fragments from the Garen 7 team. Part of a helmet recorder survived. Show me." The screen played. It was short, dark halls, screaming, fire, and one voice in the static. "We don't stop until all is ash." The clip ended. Vetra clenched her jaw. "It's them. The Ashburn." "Should we alert High Command?" Lurek asked. Vetra shook her head. "No, not yet. They'll just send more fleets." "That's what the Ashburn want." She stared at the stars. "We're not fighting an army," she said. "We're fighting ghosts." On the mining moon of Jerry's 4, a salvage crew found something strange. An old Earth escape pod, floating, empty. They brought it aboard. Inside was a single chip, a child's drawing Earth burning in red crayon. The word home, written in shaky letters. As the crew laughed, the ship's core overheated. A silent virus spread through the system. Within 10 minutes, life support shut off. Engines exploded. In the darkness of space, the ship broke apart. Ashburn, Lin watched another red light blink off her map. "One more gone," Rain said. Lin didn't smile. "Not enough." He nodded. "Phase 3 will be ready soon." She looked at the names carved into the wall again. Send the message again. Systems. All. Across dozens of systems, the message repeated. It played through broken satellites. It whispered through enemy signals. It appeared on old screens that hadn't worked in years. "We don't stop until all is ash." The Empire began to panic. On the Zorian, Vetra met secretly with Admiral Calais through a secure link. "This is no longer insurgency," she told him. "This is something else." Kale laughed. "You're afraid of a few. Ghosts, I've lost 30 ships in 3 weeks. Send more.
What?
They want us to send more. Every time we do, they disappear. Kale narrowed his eyes. You think Earth built this plan before the war ended? Yes, I think this was always their backup, in case they lost. Kale looked annoyed. Earth is dead, Vetra. No, she said. Earth lives in fire, and fire spreads. On. A cold, broken space station orbiting a gas giant. A child cried in the dark. He was alone. He wore a patch with Earth's flag on it, and in front of him, 3 Empire soldiers stood, weapons drawn. The leader stepped forward. We're not here to hurt you. The boy said nothing. Then the lights turned red. Doors. Sealed gas filled the room. The soldiers banged on the walls, screamed, choked. The boy didn't move. He pressed a button hidden in his coat. A message played through the station. We don't stop until all is ash. In the secret meeting halls of the Empire, the words began to spread. They had crushed Earth's body, but not its will. Something lived on, and it hated, with every trap. Every fire, every vanishing patrol, the message grew. Stronger Vetra stared at her reflection in the glass of her private quarters. They're not trying to win, she said to herself. She remembered Earth's final broadcast. They're trying to make us burn. She turned to her terminal. Pull all data on something called Ashburn Protocol. Everything. I want to know how far back this goes. Yes, Commander. As the file loaded, the first line made her breath stop. In case of total planetary loss, execute the Ashburn Protocol. Purpose: retaliation without limit. She scrolled. Phase 1 broadcast. Phase 2, traps. Phase 3, firestorm. The last line chilled her. There is no rescue, there is no return. Only the ash. On Ashburn, Lynn stood in front of her crew. We have no home, she said. No planet, no future. We have a promise. She raised a small object, a piece of Earth's crust, burned and cracked. This is all that's left of our world. She dropped it on the ground. It shattered into dust, and now we do the same to them. Rain stepped forward. Phase 3. Lynn nodded. Begin. In the darkness of space, thousands of drones awoke. Some were hidden in wrecks, others inside enemy stations. Some were living beings, Zempire defectors, spies, even once loyal. Machines turned rogue. One by one, they activated, and from every corner of the Empire. One message echoed again, louder than ever. Sharper CRULer. We don't stop until all is ash. And this time, ... the stars listened. A black Empire transport ship flew silently over the desert moon of VL Trax-3. It carried a high-value prisoner, human, captured near the edge of the void corridor. He didn't speak. He didn't eat. He just stared. The guards said nothing too. He wasn't worth it. He was just another old Earth rebel until the ship stopped responding. The crew vanished, one by one. Lights flickered, doors locked. Then a voice echoed through the speakers. You shouldn't have touched him. Then, ... boom. The entire ship exploded mid-orbit. Only ash and metal rained down. On the Zorian, Commander Vetra watched the replay with a cold expression. This was the 3rd prison transport to vanish this week. Earth was dead, so how were the dead still killing? Pull up the files, she said. The technician opened a secure vault of classified reports. Most were years old, but Vetra had read enough to know something was buried inside, something called the Ashburn Protocol. The first file was from 30 years. Go subject, Earth. Contingency plan title, Ashburn Protocol level, Omega Red access, denied she, bypassed the lock. The file opened. It showed images of destroyed cities, not from the war but from Earth's own testing. They had built this program long before they lost. Hidden weapons, silent drones, AI virus bombs, civilian spies trained to sleep for decades. It wasn't a war plan. It was a vengeance code. Back on the ship Ashburn, Captain Lin stood in the war room. Around her, holograms of Empire systems glowed red. Each system had been touched. A station here, cargo route there, slowly, carefully. The web of destruction was spreading. Rain spoke quietly. The data leaks worked. Their fleet movements are predictable now. Phase 3 is active, Lin said. Time to turn up the heat. She walked to the center of the room and placed a small silver disc on the table. It projected a rotating Earth logo with a single message. Ashburn Protocol. No mercy, no pause, no surrender. Her voice was low but sharp. Start the firestorm. Aboard an Empire cruiser near the border zone, alarms screamed. Systems crashed. Navigation went blind. The ship drifted powerless. In the dark control room, officers ran in panic then. Every screen lit up the same message. We don't stop until all is ash. And then the hull split open. Commander Vetra stood still as another report came in. An Empire shipyard had just been destroyed, not from outside but from within. Every system had failed at once. Her own machines turned on them. How are they doing this? She whispered. Her aide brought up more footage. Civilian bots activating. Cargo drones exploding. Old Earth technology hidden inside Empire systems, never deactivated, only sleeping. The Ashburn Protocol wasn't just about soldiers. It was about infection. Lin had planted Earth's fury inside the Empire years ago, and now it was waking up. Inside Ashburn, Lin gathered her team. We've lost hundreds of our own, she said. But for each of ours, they lose thousands. Rain looked tired. How far do we take this? Lin didn't blink. Until they understand. What if they ask for peace? Lin's voice turned to steel. There's no Earth to make peace for. She pressed a button. A transmission began. It went to all frequencies. Open channel, an old Earth voice.com, familiar. It was Captain Yara's voice, the same one from the very first broadcast. We don't stop, until all is ash. This time, there was something new. The signal added, you left our world. In ruins, now we leave yours bleeding. The Empire began to panic. News spread fast. Ships stopped launching. Officers refused assignments. Fear grew like a disease. Vetra met with her remaining senior staff. We underestimated them. She said, this isn't an attack. It's collapse. They're breaking our systems from the inside. Then we hit back, one general said. With what? She snapped. Every fleet we send disappears. Every base is a target. They want us to strike. Blindly. We must find the source. Silence. Then Vetra spoke again. There's one lead. A former Earth scientist, captured after the siege. Still alive? She turned to Score. Bring him to me. In a deep prison under a dark star sat Dr. Elin Kai. Once Earth's brightest strategist. Now a quiet prisoner. Vetra entered. The room. Kai looked up. He smiled softly. So he said, you found the name. Ashburn Protocol, she said. His smile faded. You're already too late. Tell me how to stop it. You can't. Vetra leaned in. There must be a kill code. A command to shut it down. Kai laughed. That's your mistake. The protocol isn't a code. It's people. She stared at him. It's every child who saw fire fall from the sky. Every mother who buried her family. Every man who watched Earth turn black. You didn't just destroy a planet. You created a purpose. Vetra's voice lowered. What purpose? Kai's eyes burned. To make you feel what we felt. Back on Ashburn, Lin watched a recording of the interrogation. She'd tapped into Empire prisons weeks ago. She watched Elin Kai speak those words and felt a strange stillness inside her. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was a lesson. And the Empire would learn it the hard way. Prepare the next stage, she said. Rain stepped forward. What about us? If we keep going, we won't survive. Lin looked at him. That was never part of the plan. At the same moment, in an Empire luxury system far from the front lines, Lights went out, ships stopped moving, screens froze, and then ... explosions. Everything burned, no warning, no battle, just fire, and one voice heard by all. We don't stop until all is ash. Commander Vetra stood alone, out reading the latest reports. She finally understood the Ashburn weren't trying to win. They were trying to make the Empire feel helpless. They were doing it. One system at a time, she looked out at the stars. They used to shine. Bright now, they looked like burning coals, and still. The message echoed in her ears. We don't stop until all is ash. Empire Prime was known as the crown jewel of civilization. Its towers rose higher than the clouds. The skies were filled with luxury ships, drones, and color-changing clouds shaped for pleasure. Children played in gravity parks. Music echoed through. Floating cities. War was far away, just a story on screens, until the power went out. At first it was small, a few lights, single SkyTrain, an old tower's communication system. But then came the silence. Screens turned black. Drones froze. Mid-air and dropped. Sky lanes shut down. Then a sound played. Not from speakers, not from radios, but from inside every system. We don't stop until all is ash. Then the city exploded. Commander Vetra watched the reports flood in. Empire Prime was burning, security forces offline, emergency systems hijacked. Civilian casualties unknown, said her officer, shaking. Vetra didn't blink. They'd done it. The Ashburn had struck the heart of the Empire. She had warned High Command, but they didn't listen. Ow. It was too late. They just attacked. Our capital, said Score, stunned. How is that even possible? Vetra turned to him. They were already inside, years ago, waiting. That's how the Ashburn protocol works. It's not a weapon. It's a virus. It grows slow. It kills fast. He looked pale. What do we do? She didn't answer, because there was no answer, far away deep in the void corridors. The Ashburn floated in silence. Inside, Captain Lin watched the flames dance on the main screen Empire. Prime collapsing. Rain stood beside her. We've crossed the line now. He said. Lin didn't speak. She walked to the wall where the names were carved, names of Earth's dead. She placed her hand on one, her sister's. They thought they could erase us, she said softly. They forgot that ash can still burn. Phase 4, Rain asked. She nodded. We flood the media zones. It's no system untouched. Across the Empire, every major city woke up to panic. Screens lit up, broadcasts were hijacked, personal devices lidded. Then a video began to play. It was Earth before the war, blue oceans, forests, cities full of life, children laughing. Then came the fire. Missiles. Empire. Ships. Bombs. Everything burned. The video ended with a single line of text. This was Earth. You killed it. Now we kill the idea of you. We don't stop till all is ash. People screamed. Riots began. Military zones went into lockdown. Fear took hold, tighter than any weapon. On Zorian, Commander Vetra slammed her hand on the desk. This isn't war anymore, she said. It's collapse. Score nodded grimly. They're not targeting military assets anymore. They're hitting our image, our identity. She turned to him. They want the galaxy to hate us. To see us not as rulers but monsters. Are they wrong? Vetra froze. She looked down at the old Earth files again. Pictures of cities she had helped destroy. She didn't speak. Pull our forces back, she said finally. Full retreat from civilian zones. Retreat? They want us to lash out. Make mistakes. Kill more innocents. Feed their message. Score nodded. But we can't stop the signal, no, she said. But maybe we can find the source. In a forgotten part of the Empire, a child sat in front of a cracked screen. He was alone. His family lost in a drone strike last year. The screen played the Ashburn message. Then Earth's last broadcast. Tears ran down his face. Not because of Earth, but because now. He understood the Empire had lied. They had burned Earth, and now was happening again. Inside Ashburn, Rain watched the latest footage from the riots. Public trust in the Empire is collapsing, he reported. They're tearing themselves apart, then closed her eyes. It felt heavy, not like victory, not like revenge, but like gravity pulling them into the final step. We've reached the point, she said. What point? The one where they start asking for peace and show them what mercy looks like when it comes too late. Vetra received a direct call from the High Council. We want talks, the council speaker said.
Oh.
Ceasefire. Negotiation. Promise them. Peace. A planet of their own. They don't want a planet, Vetra said coldly. Then what? Fire. Then give it to them. Back on Ashburn, Lynn received a message from Vetra, a voice-only transmission. I understand now, the commander said. What we did, what we destroyed, silence. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want to stop the dying, Lynn answered, her voice like stone. Mercy was buried on earth. Then she ended the call. Rain looked at her. They'll beg. Soon, Lynn nodded. And when they do, she looked at him. We light the match. In the stars, more Empire stations burned, and everywhere one voice echoed louder than ever. One message, now heard across the galaxy. We don't stop until all is ash, and the fire was only just beginning. The Ashburn floated in the dark edge of the galaxy, hidden behind a dead star. Inside, silence ruled. Not from fear, but from focus. Captain Lynn stood in the strategy room, watching the final phase of the plan fall into place. Her face was blank, but her eyes told the truth. They were tired, empty, and full of fire. Rain walked in. Another message from the Empire, he said quietly. Lynn didn't turn. Another lie? No. A request for peace. She turned slowly. Read it. Rain hesitated. Then read aloud. We recognize the destruction we caused. We offer a full ceasefire, reparations, and a system of your choosing to rebuild your people. We are ready to listen. He looked up. They sound serious. Lynn said nothing. Rain stepped closer. We agree. We could build something again. We could have homes, children, then walk to the wall of names again. Her fingers brushed over a name at the bottom. Brother, killed in the second orbital strike. She spoke without turning. We had homes. We had children. Rain's voice was low, and now we have nothing. Lynn turned to him. No, we have memory. We have ash, and we make sure they feel it. Rain looked down, then we burn more. Lynn nodded. At the same time, Commander Vetra stood before the Empire's High Council. They were scared now, pale, their robes no longer shining. They won't talk, Tay answered. They answered, Vetra said. And their answer is fire? Then what do we do? Vetra looked at them. We face the truth. The war is over, and we lost. Then fight back. We tried. Every move we make only feeds their fire. Then where will they stop? Vetra's. The voice was cold. They already told us. On a quiet colony world near the Empire's edge, a transport ship arrived with Earth refugees. Women, children, old survivors, no weapons, no threats. The local Empire officer stepped forward to greet them. The refugees didn't speak. They only walked slowly toward a small field. Then one of them, a young girl, maybe 12, placed a black box on the ground. A projector lit up. It showed Earth burning, the people falling, the screams. Then the child spoke. Now it's your turn. And the field exploded. In the Ashburn war room, Rain stood beside Lynn. Phase 5 complete. Their outer colonies are breaking down. Good, Len said. But something's different now, Rain added. Some of them ... They're not running. They're surrendering. Lynn stared at the red lights on the map, each one a fallen world. They can surrender all they want, she said. But they don't get peace. He hesitated. You really won't stop? She looked him in the eye. You were there, Rain. You saw what they did. They didn't stop for our children. Why should we? Rain didn't answer. Back on Zorian, Commander Vetra met secretly with a group of high-ranking officers. Only the strongest remained. Most had either died or vanished. We can't control our systems, said one. Half our AI is compromised. They're using our own ships against us, said another. Then what's left? Vetra took a deep breath. There is one last station, a secret vault in the Silex ring. Hidden. Off-grid. If they reach it, we lose everything. What's in it? She looked at them, the genetic vaults, the Empire's future. Stored DNA, culture, language, history. They went silent. If they burn that, she said, we won't recover, not for centuries. Then we have to protect it. She nodded. I'll go myself, out of the Ashburn. Lynn sat alone in her quarters. The room was small, no comforts. It's just one photo, her family on old Earth. She played the recording again. The one she had watched every night. Her daughter's voice laughing, her husband saying, we'll be home. Before sundown, and then the sound of screaming, in silence. She closed her eyes. Rain entered slowly. I brought something. He held out a chip. She looked at it. What is it? Message from the Empire's last commander, Vetra. She's asking to meet. Lynn stared at the chip. She's alive? Yes. And she wants to talk, face to face. Lynn stood up. Good. They met on a neutral moon, one made of ice and silence. Vetra stepped off her ship with no weapons. Just her old officer's coat and tired eyes. Lynn wore black, no symbols, no emotion. They stood 5 meters apart. You wanted to speak? Lynn said. Vetra nodded. I saw what we did to Earth, she said, and I saw what you became because of it. Lynn's face didn't change. I'm not here to beg, Vetra added, just to say one thing, and say it. You win. Lynn stepped closer. This was never about winning. Then what? Was it? She said it like a whisper, remembering. Vetra nodded. You've made your point. You've broken us. But if you keep going, there will be nothing left for either side. Lynn paused. Good. Vetra looked into her eyes. Is this what your daughter would have wanted? Lynn froze. Vetra handed her a small Atoma metal tag, once belonging to Lynn's daughter. Found. In the rubble, Lynn took it with shaking hands. For a second, her eyes broke, just for a second. Then she turned and walked away. Vetra called out, There's nothing left to destroy. Lynn, and Lynn answered, without turning back. Then I destroy. Nothing. On board Ashburn, the engines roared to life. Rain walked beside Lynn. Where now? She looked out the window. To the heart? You mean the vault? She nodded. They kept their future there. Now we take it. He didn't argue. He just asked one last question. If we do this, there's no going back. She looked at him. We never had a way back. Above the Empire's final vault, a single ship entered orbit. Old, scarred, burning with purpose. The Ashburn. And as it descended, one final message echoed across the stars. We don't stop. Until all is ash. The Ashburn broke through the dark clouds above the Silex ring. Below it floated the Empire's most protected Volta city-sized station wrapped in black armor, surrounded by defense drones and sensor fields. Inside were the DNA archives, cultural libraries, and memory cores of the entire Empire. The future. Captain Lynn stood at the front of the bridge. Hold course, she said. Rain stared at the screen. They're powering up weapons. Let them. All across the Empire, the feed went live. It wasn't supposed to, but someone somewhere had hacked into the emergency. Override, everyone watched. The people of burned colonies, of broken stations. Even the surviving members of the Empire's own council. They all saw the Ashburn, heading straight for the vault, and they heard the voice. Lynn's voice, calm, unstoppable. This is for every lie you told. For every life you took, for every flame you lit on Earth, this is the answer. We don't stop until all is ash. The vault opened fire, beams of light, rail cannons, smart missiles. But Ashburn didn't dodge. It flew straight. Shields shattered, engines burst. Metal peeled off the hull like skin. Rain stood beside Lynn. "We're not going to make it," he said. She nodded. "We're not meant to." He took a deep breath. "See you on the other side, Captain." She gave him a small, sad smile. "I hope there is no other side." They reached the vault wall. The final weapon triggered. The ship exploded, but not just. Into fire, into code, viruses, AI swarms, hack programs hidden in every bolt. They tore through the vault systems in seconds. Doors unlocked, files erased, DNA. Samples fried, memory banks cracked open, and leaked into the void. The Empire's future, its culture, its history, its bloodline, vanished, gone, not captured, not stolen, just, turned to ash. Commander Vetra watched from her remaining ship. Silent, frozen. There was no sound, just a black screen, and the blinking lights of systems dying one by one. "We lost," someone whispered behind her. Vetra didn't answer. The message was still echoing through the networks. "We don't stop until all is ash." But it stopped now, because everything was ash. On forgotten worlds, old humans lit candles, not in celebration, not in victory, but in memory. Earth was gone. Ashburn was gone. The Empire was gone. Only whispers remained in deep space, in ruins, in the dark. The final war had no hero. No survivors. Only one truth. If you burn someone's world, they will burn your soul. Forever, some say a new race will rise. Some say this was the end of all history. But those who still drift between stars, those who remember, tell. It's the same story. The last story of Earth and its final promise. We don't stop until all is ash. Nothing ever burned brighter.